Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Autumn and Phil, and today's an awesome episode because we both watched Wonder Woman last week, and we've been dying to talk about it, and now's the time that we finally get to air everything out.
Finally.
Last Friday, oh man, I was so pissed because my friend was coming with me, and he was late. And the lady at the door wouldn't let him in unless I came all the way down 8 floors of stairs to let him in. And I'm like, I'm not missing the beginning of this movie. But I was like, out of respect, I was like, okay, I had to go get him. And luckily, he brought 2 orders of Checkers chicken nuggets.
There you go. Checkers. I've had Checkers in so long.
It's the only thing next to my
Oh, man, that'd be bad for me.
So it was off to a stressful start, but everything turned out okay once the chicken nuggets got going.
Well, you saw it early, right? On Friday?
I saw it at noon. I don't think I've ever been to a movie that early.
Was there anyone else in the theater?
There actually was.
Quite a few people?
Quite a few. Good. Yeah, but I had the seats 3rd row from the handicap, so right in the center. So
that's exactly where I was.
Yeah.
I was like I had like the reserved seating, so you have like the lounge chairs, and I didn't know whether to have 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I was back.
Right.
Because it was pretty packed. Like, I wanted to watch it Friday night, but there was no seats available at all.
And I'm not taking my chance with not reserved Friday. Like, no way.
No, not at all. I wouldn't just walk up to the theater and be like, I need 2 tickets to Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
they're like, no.
Yeah.
Sitting? You want to stand in the aisle, maybe? That's about it.
Exactly.
You saw it Friday. I saw it Saturday. We had the same experience, pretty much, right?
We both, loved it.
Yeah, we both enjoyed it. So that's what episode 4 of Cape Talk is going to be.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about all things Wonder Woman movie, reactions, what it might mean for the future of the DC movie universe, and just our favorite parts and things we might not have liked.
My favorite part's easy because it was the beginning.
Oh, okay, right. So we'll just, very big spoiler alert. It's not even a week. Kind of a week.
It's kind of a week.
Kind of a week since the movie came out, and so it's going to be pretty spoiler-filled this episode. So if you haven't seen it, pause us and go watch it and come back and hit play. So it was interesting because when we talked about last week, when we talked about the preview of Wonder Woman, we were kind of like, I wonder how they're going to structure the movie. It's going to be mostly flashback. It's going to be... a lot of time on Themyscira or whatever, and we found out immediately that it takes place in the present, where Bruce, Batman, obviously, Bruce Wayne, sends Diana the photo of her and Steve Trevor and all the other people from World War One, and she starts flashbacking, really, just reminiscing about her time.
That's really quick. It's I would say 2 minutes that we even see her in present.
Yeah.
And then she looks at the photo and she clearly gets kind of emotional, and then it flashes back to Themyscira. And I just I think my jaw actually just dropped.
Yeah.
When the scene, it was a few minutes in, but the scene where I'm getting a little, but she's they're jumping off the cliff, by ropes and, flying, shooting arrows through. I was just
yeah, that was kind of towards the end of the first act where Steve Trevor, when she's older.
Yeah.
You definitely see her as a child.
Right.
You get some backstory about the gods and stuff, and then you get Diana as a child and, her growing up in Themyscira with all the Amazons. And you see her, she wants to be a fighter, she wants to be a warrior. She has an aunt, I think that's her aunt, right?
Yeah.
That is the best fighter in all of Themyscira, and she's the general, and she teaches everyone how to fight.
Antiope, right?
I don't know.
General
something.
Antiope.
General Robin Wright. That's
exactly. There you go. Let's go with Robin Wright.
We'll go Robin Wright. Mrs. What's his name? Frank Underwood.
Yeah.
So we we have that whole dynamic where Queen Hippolyta, Diana's mother, doesn't want her to fight, and she doesn't need to fight. And we find out her reasons why later, while the general is no, she needs to learn. Even though it might not never happen, she needs to learn how to fight. As she gets into, pre-teen age, that's when she starts sneaking out and learning. And that's when the queen finds out, and then she finally gives her blessing, and then we fast forward again to when she's Gal Gadot, and we get her this crazy training montage where a bunch of people are trying to fight her, and she's fighting off a bunch of people at once, and then she's finally the general's all right, let's see if you can take me on.
Right.
And they get this crazy battle. Gal Gadot gets the upper hand at first, and then she takes her eyes off of the battle, and that's just that's your first mistake, and blah, blah, blah. So
And then with the powers come out.
Yeah, and then like she goes with the gauntlets things. Yeah. She has as a child, and I guess they grow with her. Yeah. With her wrists, and she just goes boom, and then everyone's like, "Oh, what is that?"
Yeah.
And
I liked how her powers they didn't like spend time explaining it. I really liked that about it. It sucks for people who maybe didn't know.
Yeah, because it's interesting because, this played a thing in the final battle, which we'll get to when we get there, where it's like, my girlfriend was like, so what's their powers again? Yeah. And I was like, it's a lot of stuff.
It's a lot. It's gods.
It's just,
stuff.
They're gods.
Yeah,
and it's just like, no. It's like, there's so many things going on. So, like you said, I liked it too because that takes away.
It takes away
everything else. Like, I'm going to sit here and give you 10 minutes of exposition of what your powers are. No. You don't need to know. Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with the character, she's pretty popular. Like, she's known everywhere. She's on par almost with Batman and Superman, so power sets.
People might not have read her comics necessarily, but like who Wonder Woman is.
Yeah, so she's powerful, she's strong, she kind of sort of flies, not really.
Yeah. That was one thing I was curious about. I think that's something that she was even curious about. She's like, can I do this?
Well, it's interesting because when Steve Trevor comes, that's right after she fights off her aunt and like shows off like her powers. Right. She runs away and then she goes to like the beach, and that's when you see Steve Trevor's plane crash, and that's when we meet Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, and she goes in there and she saves him, and she's like, "Oh, this is man." Yeah. Sort of thing.
And he's like, "Well, yeah."
Yeah. So and then obviously like not the Nazis, the Germans are following him. And they follow him too because apparently Themyscira is like untraceable to anyone because you can't see it, right? Because it's like this magical like dome that hides it from people.
Dome is a good word because they're like popping their heads through.
Yeah, so it's like a force field dome where it's like it looks like nothing's there, but then you can push yourself. Like it was cool because it was in our dimension or sort of thing. It was like cloudy and stormy. And then they peeked in, it's all sunny and beautiful. I
liked how they did that, because I was kind of curious how that was going to happen. Yeah, because I think they had some creative control about how they want to conceal.
Yeah, because it's like, you could take liberties because it's gods and magic and stuff like that. So it was interesting that it's always been there, but, no one's ever, like, come across it, I guess. I guess it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's just like no one's come across it. So it was interesting to see that, and how they showed that visually was really cool. And that's when we get the first big fight scene when the Germans come in and all the Amazons show up. It was sad.
That was sad, too.
Yeah, again, spoilers. A lot of Amazons died, but General Robin Wright dies. And
well, she doesn't, not till later, right?
No, that was when she
we're talking about the very first?
When when the beach, when they show up. And that's when we were talking about them flying off the cliffs and everything, and the ropes and all that crazy stuff.
Oh my god! And then, Steve's like trying to warn them. Well, you guys have guns, right?
No, yeah, it's like no, because he doesn't understand like who are like what is this place sort of thing. Like he doesn't understand like these people are Amazons and they're kind of like stuck in the past, like they're ancient Greek things, people.
And then that's before we get off the island. We get to see how the lasso of truth works, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, after the battle finishes and, people have died and they take Steve Trevor in.
This is one of the most funniest parts, I think, of it. Like, Steve Trevor with all these women who are, like, questioning him and, like, putting him on the spot. And, like, Wonder Woman's just, like, walking in, like, when he's, like, naked bathing. And...
My favorite part I had me laughing is when they had him in the lasso of truth and they're asking him questions and he's like, I can't tell you. And he's trying to say why he can't tell you, but he's trying to lie, but he can't. He goes, because I'm a spy. Yeah. Because he's like, I never had to say that before. So that was just funny. Yeah. But Chris Pine was really good.
He was very good.
He was really good at what he was doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that. And that scene where he's, like, naked and, like, Wonder Woman just, like, doesn't give a shit. And,
yeah, he's naked, like, completely naked. Like, full on. We don't see it, obviously, PG-13 movie. So it's, like, full on. And she just walks in on him and is like...
Yeah, she's like
she knows about it, but she's actually never seen it in real life. And it's funny because she goes, "What's that small thing over there?"
Yeah, he's like, "Is that average for your kind?" Or
and he goes, "Oh, my watch, that's a watch." And I was just like, "Oh man."
And then he's like above, he was like above average, actually.
So do all men look like you? And he was trying. It's funny because I feel like Chris Pine or like I think of him as like Kirk, obviously from Star Trek, that he would be so cocky to be like, oh, I'm the best or whatever. But he's trying to be so reserved, like not too cocky, but not put himself down too much because like, oh, this is a hot woman in front of me. So it's just like
talk about it. Oh my god.
So it was just like, yeah, I'm above average. It's like don't put myself on a high pedestal just in case you see somebody better. But
I also like that scene before we get off the island stuff where she's like scaling the wall to get the sword.
But that's what I was talking about, like when she's learning about her powers. Yeah, she's learning that she took a leap. Right. She walked like across a field almost, and then she was like, "Okay, I could do stuff." So she tried to make the jump and she couldn't. And then as she's falling down like this pillar castle tower thingy, she like punches through it to like, and then that's how she like climbs up.
At first I thought she was gonna break the fucking building.
I thought she was gonna go right through it.
Yeah, I was like, but that was cool to see.
Yeah. So and then she steals the God Killer, which is like.
Which we learn isn't later. We learned some questionable things.
That was
about
so
it.
weird.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand it. I think I saw someone, an outlet, write about it. I forgot who, and I didn't really read it.
Right.
But I thought it was clickbait, but I don't know.
There was a lot of clickbait surrounding Wonder Woman. So much. And I was like, oh my god. Like, it is kind of the biggest movie in a while, but like...
It's
pay
definitely
respect, all right.
It's definitely. I don't think anyone expected this because we just came off of Guardians 2, and everyone was really hyped about it. It was good. It wasn't. I don't think it was good as the first one, but that's whatever. And Wonder Woman's not a tried and true franchise. There wasn't a sequel. There wasn't a first movie. This is the first her origin movie. She's never been in a movie. Yeah. So coming off some crappy movies, people perceive to be crappy movies.
You mean Batman vs Superman?
Yeah, and Suicide.
I was like, are you gonna say it?
No, and Suicide Squad. So it's like those two movies, and even Man of Steel, people don't like. So
really,
I like Man of Steel.
I mean, I didn't have any specific problems with it.
I mean, there's problems with it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
but
people need to enjoy these things more.
I think people take it too seriously. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we're off the. Is there anything else thoughts about the on the island stuff?
I must say, I know a lot of people loved that whole flashback and her on the island. I enjoyed it, but it dragged for me.
For real?
Like, I didn't get into the movie until they left.
Really?
And they got to London, and that's when the movie really took off for me.
Yeah, it did pick up.
So I was just like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, origin. Like, it was necessary. Yeah. That's what it was. Like, I just took it like, this is a necessary evil. It's kind of slow. We got to get like these dynamics, formed. Yeah. But it was like really kind of dragged for me. Like, once she started training, right? And then, I don't know, something came, it took too long when Steve Trevor showed up. It took too long from when they fought off the Germans to get off the island.
That's fair.
And I was just like, there's too much time. There was too much going on, like bickering and getting, it was cute dialogue, but it was just like, can we get off the island now?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my little nitpick.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I don't know. I thought it was, all things considered, though, they really didn't spend that much time on her origins. No, like, if you really look at the grand scheme of the movie, the majority of it took place off the island.
Well, it's interesting because part of her origin was the big, supposed to be swerve at the end, where it's just like, oh my god. Yeah. So, I mean, her origin was like so in tune with the plot that it worked well, where they gave you a little bit in the beginning and then a lot more at the end.
Right.
And I feel like we don't even know everything.
We don't have any idea, really.
We still don't know everything.
Yeah.
Like, we got a little bit in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
So I guess that helps, and this is like a direct afterwards. Yeah. So, we got off the island, and I actually liked the boat scenes. I thought highlights. See, that they could have cut that bath scene in half.
No, I like the bath scene. For undisclosed reasons, okay?
Undisclosed for obvious reasons. For obvious reasons.
Y'all got the rest. Y'all guys got the rest of the movie. Okay?
No, because like
I just need that one Chris Pine bathroom
What did we get in the rest of the movie?
Gal Gadot's face, okay, is like a pleasure.
And that's funny because
they kept zooming in on her face, and I'm like, yes, like more face, because her face is like insanely gorgeous.
It's funny because that's like an ongoing thing in the movie where people saying like, "Can I just have a picture of your face?
Yeah.
Can I just look at your face the whole time?" And it's funny because it's like, yeah, It's funny because you've seen her in like Fast and the Furious and stuff like that. She looks great in this movie.
Well, I liked it because they gave her the really, really natural look.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't. I mean, of course there's makeup because it's like that, but like in the grand scheme of things, if you've seen her on the street, like she wouldn't have been wearing makeup.
I guess I know. Obviously, she has like a training regimen. She had to put on weight and stuff like that. So.
Oh, did she?
If you look at her in Fast and the Furious, she's a twig.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she must have put muscle on, and I don't want to like treat her like a piece of meat, but it's just like she looks fuller. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She just looks fuller and like.
Yeah. Well, you have to, and the men have to put on muscle. Why wouldn't the women?
Well, she's supposed to be an Amazon, you know, a warrior, so she had to do it. So I mean, I think that also kind of like filled out her face and it just made it stand out. So that's just me. That's my.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the same with men with movies. I mean, it's like fucking Henry Cavill or whatever. Yeah. He had a muscle up. Ben Affleck, I'm sure he had a fucking full out, you know? So why would it be any different?
Sure.
And it's more better representation of what women look like. We're not all famous and like skinny like twigs, you know?
No,
so,
exactly. No, you're right. You're
like,
right.
Yeah.
It was more realistic. Like even as opposed to the other Amazons, she looked normal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everyone was huge.
Right.
Everyone looked. Even Robin Wright was like.
She was
ripped. I was like 50, whatever how old she really is.
Yeah.
And then like Gal Gadot was like pretty. You know, chiseled, but like not like them.
Yeah,
like, they really went all out. But
well, I think that was too came with her being like younger and like.
Oh yeah,
what
definitely.
Age is she supposed to be? I was curious about that. Like as an adult, what age is she? Is she like 25?
I don't think she's that old.
You don't think she's supposed to be younger? Yeah. Because that was one thing where I was like, I don't really know.
And it's interesting because obviously that was in World War I, which took place in the 20s.
I don't know. Don't ask me about history.
I think the 20s and. You know, obviously Batman vs. Superman was supposed to take place today. So that's like 80 years. And she hasn't aged. You know what I mean? But obviously for her origin, you understand why.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So but she ages, I guess, very slowly.
Yeah.
So I guess when she was a child, when we first meet, that could have been like 100 years, 200 years. Who knows?
That's a good point. That's interesting. I never thought about that like that.
We gotta ask Gal Gadot when we see her. Whenever we run into her.
Yeah,
maybe it's San Diego.
When we're waiting in Hall H for fucking 5 hours.
Hey, Gal Gadot, how old are you supposed to be in Wonder Woman? I mean, that's a good point. She could have been 100 years old already.
Yeah.
But I guess in our eyes, I would think 22.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah, I would say.
I would say that.
There's no way to know because it's not like she had like a formal education or was like in grade school.
Oh, because they're not telling you, 100 years later. Like there's no like little title card saying 100 years later. Yeah. So it could have been like when she was a child when we first meet her until she is a Gal Gadot.
Right.
That could have been like 500 years for all we know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I loved how that they made it obvious like how well educated the Amazons were. Like she's like read every book like ever.
That's an interesting thing because you would think like, and you see her naive moments here and there, but it's like, oh, we know about reproduction.
Yeah, she's like,
you know, I'm like, oh, you don't think we know about all that stuff?
Like almost it was like humans are like trivial, and she knows everything about the way civilization works, but like she clearly doesn't catch on to the social cues. And shit.
No, yeah, like you would think like a common trope with people who like fish out of water stories, where it's just like, what is this? What is this? Like, oh, the penis. What is this? And it's like, no, I know all this already. Yeah. Because I've had 100, 500 years, as we just mentioned. That's how old
I even know things that y'all don't want to admit, like women don't need a man for pleasure. I was like, whoa, damn, girl, you go.
Because it was, who was it? Chris Pine says, I think he was alluding to, like, what do you guys do for pleasure, I guess. Yeah. Because it's like, it's all women. And he's like, oh, we don't need a man for that. It's like, oh, okay. That's pretty much like, right? Am I wrong? And like, oh, okay. Sure,
yeah, and I liked how they led into that with like the sleeping arrangements. He's like, well, fine, I'll sleep next to you. Like, it was like, oh, okay, like.
I thought that was cute though.
It was so adorable.
Because here's my whole thing. Like, I keep seeing Chris Pine. So I'm like, oh, he wants to like be a ladies' man. Like I keep seeing him in ladies, like as a ladies' man in every movie, you know. And in this movie, he's like, I don't want to say a normal guy. But he's way more normal than his other roles, where he's just like, I'm trying to be respectful. And you gotta think about the time period, too. It's the 20s. Right. It's not like, oh, we're all, sexual freedom. It's like, no, everything's kind of reserved. So even the men are like, no, we're not married. Yeah. We're like, we're not married. I'm not supposed to sleep with you. And she's like, why can't you just sleep next to me? Yeah.
I liked how they explored, because I think as we're progressing as a society, like the place of chivalry is in question right now because a lot of women, you know, equality among the sexes, and it's like, so what does that leave men? Are men still expected to be chivalrous and kind of treat women as, you know, I guess, you know, with more respect than women might need to treat men? And I thought this movie actually kind of did a good job. Like the men weren't, when it got to a certain point, they weren't like taken aback by the fact that she's gonna go first and like kill everyone so they can all follow and do nothing. You know what I mean? As opposed to other movies, it might be like they might have felt emasculated by that, and maybe they did at first, but it was more because they were surprised like that this woman has godly powers than the fact that she's actually a woman. Mm-hmm. They were at first they didn't realize she had powers, you know. So I thought that was like a kind of an interesting dynamic that I think really only a female director could have achieved that with such a success. So I really actually appreciate that, because that's something I think about. It's like, it's kind of like we teach men not to, you know, put their hands on women, but we don't necessarily teach women that they shouldn't put their hands on men. You know what I mean? And
no,
it's
I know.
Like,
yeah.
So I thought that the movie kind of explored that dynamic. I know, of course, that situation didn't happen in the movie, but
yeah, because it was interesting, like. Yeah, because it was like almost like a not a paradigm shift. It was just like the gender roles were kind of reversed in a way, like, oh no, and I guess it's more like she's not, like, he keeps thinking she's naive. She doesn't know our ways. Mm-hmm. That I have to be way more respectful and, you know, protective of her, and she's just like, nah, I'm good. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's just like, no, man, I've lived 500 years. I keep going back to that. I'm like, I'm really interested to see how old she was. Supposed to be.
Yeah. But I loved it how I'll add this. I won't talk too much about the end. But at the end, you still got to see that female-male dynamic that makes like a pairing like so beautiful, because at the end she was so vulnerable and like she still wanted him to take care of her in a way that wasn't necessarily the classic way that it's thought of. And so it really came full circle. And we could talk more about that when we get to the ending, but it was like
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that, because, like, I saw the movie on Saturday, right? And I thought it was good, and I talked about it with Rocco on Monday, and you were there too, and I was like, yeah, it was good, but I don't think it's as good as everyone said it was. But it definitely stuck with me. Mm-hmm. Like, it's still sticking with me, like, the movie, like, I keep thinking about it. Yeah. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, like, I thought about it for, like, a couple days, and I was done with it. Yeah. Like, that was, like, pretty clear-cut what it was about. Like, this movie is just, like, I don't know, it was like almost game changing, where it's just like so many different things, like things I'd never seen before, and I just keep thinking about it, and even talking about it now. I'm hyped about it. I'm like, oh man, that was done so well, and I'm thinking about it, and like, I mean, I love Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman's dynamic, where it's just like it felt so natural, and it kudos to both actors where their chemistry was really good, and they played off each other so well, and it felt natural. Like they went through all this crap together, right? And at the end, how it ends, like even when they were fighting at the end, like not fist fighting, but verbally like arguing about things, and like, you know, no, not everything is black and white, and this and that. It was very interesting, and then like it didn't matter. Like, yeah, I'm going to do my own thing. They still came together, and it was like, doesn't matter. I still love you. Anyway, we're getting too far.
Yeah. But anyway, so where were we? They're in England now. Yeah. And she's trying to like carry her sword through revolving doors. Y'all saw that in the trailer and stuff. And I love that the female character. I forget the actress's name, but she was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. She provided some real relief.
She was really funny. You saw the trailers, where she's like when she was trying to on like different dresses.
I love that part.
Because all Wonder Woman came out in her Wonder Woman outfit with a giant fur coat. That's all she was wearing. So like legs are showing and everything.
She tried to open the coat. Yeah.
But it's funny because they keep reminding you like you're in the 20s. Yeah. Like this is not what women do. Right. Like everything's covered up and you have to be really ladylike and proper. So she's just like I'm like a tomboy. Yeah. Like I'm fighting. I don't care what people think about me. So you know it's funny because it just keeps telling you like over in the 20s. Yeah. This is how it is back then. So it was a good period piece in that way. So so we got to see like old London during the war, and she gets to try on dresses and everything. That was the funny parts, and we get to see Steve Trevor's backstory, like what he was really doing. Mm-hmm. Like he's a spy, and he infiltrated the Germans, and he found out the main villains. What their plan was to create this poison that not even gas, like mustard gas, that gas mask couldn't even protect you from. Yeah, and that was going to change the war because it's like history. Don't ask me what year, but this is kind of towards the end of World War One, where the Germans were about to call an armistice, and they're about to like kind of surrender. But this one general was like, no, this could switch, shift the war in our favor. And Steve Trevor found it. He stole the notebook where all the chemical formulas and stuff were, and he was going to send it to the British, but that's when he got shot down, and we got to see that. That was pretty cool. So then when he finally got to London, he's like, I need to go and give this notebook to the higher-ups. And Gal Gadot's like, no, you promised me you're going to take me to the front lines. Yeah, and he goes, no, we got to do this. Yeah. So it's really interesting how they show, like, there's so many things going on in this movie. It's just like, yeah, the war is fought on so many different fronts. Like, yeah, the front lines are there, but there's, like, spies and, real strategy going on. And he's like, no, you got to do this, because then if they know, they can find where it is and get rid of it, and they'll be the end. And she's just like, no, I want to go in and just kill everybody and blah, 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 and get it over with. Because I know Ares, they keep talking about Ares in the movie. Yeah. Like, Ares, the god of war, is just like, he's causing all this. He's causing all this.
And everyone's like, well, she's...
Yeah, everyone's just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
But we'll go with it.
Well, Steve Trevor, like, he has to go with it because everything he's seen, that he's like, it might be real. Yeah. And everything she's done, it might be real. But even he has, like, I don't know about this Ares person. Yeah. I think it's just whatever. So we go through this back and forth, and they have these moments where it's like, just come with me, and then we'll go to the front lines. So she agrees, and they go to the council.
Oh, no, they go to the council first.
Yeah, they go to the council first, and they're like, oh, what's this woman doing here, sort of thing. And it was a great scene where it's like, I think it was here, where the colonel was like, yeah, if they die, that's what soldiers are for. And then Gal Gadot was like, or Wonder Woman, I should say.
She went off.
She was like, whoa, that's cowardly. You're supposed to be there with them. You're supposed to be on the front lines with them fighting.
You should be ashamed.
Yeah, and they're like, who is this woman?
Yeah, like, who are you wearing this? Yeah.
So we had that whole thing, and they gave them the book, but we find out in the bad guys camp that someone kind of like whispers into, what's her name? Dr. Poison or something? Yeah. Into her ear, like she kind of figures it out. Like someone's whispered in her ear. Oh, or like, what was it, like a ball of paper? And she opens it up like, oh, this is it. This is what I was looking for. So that progresses that storyline. And then we finally get to the front lines and we get to No Man's Land.
Oh my god. That scene is where I think everyone was just like hooked.
I got goosebumps. I've read things where people were crying and tears and stuff like that. I got goosebumps.
I didn't cry yet. I cried at the end with the No Man's when she like takes the castle. Like takes out the sniper or whatever. Yeah. I don't know why.
You cried?
I cried at that moment. It was like the most weirdest moment to cry.
You're supposed to be like, yeah!
But I looked over, and there was this old white guy with, like, gray hair crying, too. And he had brought a whole bag of tissues. So, the point where we're all supposed to be happy, she ended the battle, the two of us are, like, crying. Like,
well, I get it, because she just, like, freed all those people. Because that was it. Like, let's go... backtrack. They went to a place called No Man's Land because World War I is a lot of trench warfare where it's like trench. Yeah. Oh, where am I? Trench. And it's like they don't move; they're just shooting at each other, and they get little by little closer, I guess. So there's No Man's Land because you can't pass through the middle, right? Because you just get shot up.
You'll just die.
But then there's I don't know if she finds out later that there's a town that's being... Yeah, she finds out there because they're in the trench and you see this woman with her child. Like, my town got taken over.
They're stuck in the mud.
Yeah, they're stuck in the mud and, my whole town is taken over by the Germans and God knows what's going on there. So that's when she's like, no, I gotta do something.
Yeah, so well, for a while she didn't. Steve Trevor was like, no, we have to keep going, But once she got in the trenches and seen all these men basically waiting to die.
Yeah, because all they wanted to do was... And we skipped the part when they recruited all those guys, too, but... Okay, sure.
That part, like, it was funny, but nothing really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean...
We just learned a little bit about these side characters.
Yeah, I mean, they were cool, but they were there.
They're side characters.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so... Now we know how you really feel about them. But
what? The only thing I have to say about them is that seeing Gal Gadot stand with this, like, mashup of, like, weird-looking dudes with, like, weird talents was great. Like, seeing such a majestic...
I remember that I loved, like, I know, like, 500 languages.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was so cool. It was like, that's why they brought her on, because, I could read ancient Aramaic or whatever that was in the book.
Yeah.
Like no one else can read it. It's like, oh, I can read this.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Because it was like a mismatch of like old languages, like Latin and Aramaic and stuff like that, so she could read it. So that's why.
And then, and then the boss actually comes to the bar where they're recruiting the guys and is like, "Hey, I'll back you or whatever."
Yeah, because Steve Trevor was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a band of guys together and we're gonna sneak in and destroy the place." And no one said, everyone's like, no, because we already got the armistice going to happen. They're going to surrender anyway.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. I'm not going to risk everything. But they're like, no, they're not going to do it. But like you said, I forgot his name.
Me too.
In the movie. But there's one of the guys, is like,
he's in Harry Potter, right?
Yeah, he is in Harry Potter. He's the werewolf guy.
Yeah.
From the
Azkaban.
second?
Isn't it Azkaban?
Was that the third movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, the third movie. Okay. So that's in the third movie.
With, yeah.
Yes, third movie. So
well, I don't know his name. We're so bad with that.
I don't know his name in the movie, but you recognize him. That he goes and he gives them the money to do it. So they go to No Man's Land. Now we're back here. Yeah. No Man's Land, and she goes up, and you see in the trailers. It's like if you're not gonna do anything, I'm gonna do it. So she gets up there full. This is the first time we actually see her in Wonder Woman gear, and she's like in mode, and with the sword and the shield, and everyone's like on the other side, like, what is this? They're like, oh shit, start shooting at her. And she's just like, bing,
bam, bam,
bing,
yeah.
Bing.
Blocking like missiles with her fucking shield.
Oh, when they had like the machine gun thing, and she's just like there with the shield. I'm like, yo. That's
and then
like
everyone's in the
shot.
Everyone in the place is like, oh wait, whoa, shit, we gotta go.
And then Steve Trevor's like, fine, let's go. And that's the great part because they kept talking about how the Amazons are and like you fight alongside each other and stuff like a family, brotherhood, sisterhood, whatever. And so Steve Trevor was like, no, we can't just let her stay out there by herself.
Yeah.
We gotta go help. So they went and helped her. And they did their thing, too. They helped. While she, like, took all the shots, they were shooting them off, like, picking them off one by one. So
Sisterhood, I love you threw that in there really quick.
Well, they're all Amazon, but brother, sisterhood, whatever. But that scene, and I think a lot of people mentioned that was their favorite scene in the movie. That was definitely the one that got me, like, goosebumps. Like, just visually, it was really done well. It was just, like, you just see her. And like, everything is so dark and she's all red and hopeful, I guess it is. And it's just like bullets just flying off her. Even if she getting shot and everything's bouncing off of her. Yeah. So that was just great.
Yeah.
So they get rid of that. They get through. They go to the town. And this is the part where you cried, where she goes through the town and they go into the town and just like wreck everybody. She goes in. You see the scenes where she's in the room. She's sliding around and slicing people's legs and stuff like that.
And that's where we get that picture of them standing there together that Batman gave her in the beginning.
Yeah, once she frees the town, the people are like, I need to take a picture of you guys for whatever, and that's when you see the picture. And
they all have a good night when Steve teaches her how to dance. Like,
oh, that was funny because the people are just like, swaying around. And she goes, that's not dancing, that's, I guess, swaying. Yeah. That's all you're doing is swaying. I
want to know how she dances.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you dance? But then Chris Pine's like, well, I'm going to teach you how to dance. And it's like, well, you call it swaying, but this is how you dance. Yeah. And it starts to snow, and it gets all cool. Romantic. Yeah. And that's when I kind of finally, like, they kind of see each other as more than just man and woman, I guess.
And he goes to take her to her room, and I like that they didn't show that. They didn't really even show them kissing, did they? I don't think they even kissed.
It kind of, the way the camera was so close.
Yeah.
Like you just saw their silhouettes, and they kind of merge, and then it kind of like gets even closer, and then just goes to black pretty much.
I really liked that they didn't show that moment.
Well, you knew what was happening because he takes her to her room, and he's about to leave, and she's just standing there like looking at him. And he's like, nah, I'm staying. Yeah. Kind of thing. I'm like, good man. Good man. I'm like, you crazy.
He goes to leave, and then he's like standing by the door, and he's about to close it, and then she's still looking at him, like giving him the look.
Like really? You're leaving? You don't want this?
You're not just gonna lay next to me like we did on the boat? Like, this time we can see what happens.
It was funny though, because it's just like, it's weird because it's like my imagination goes wild. It's like, what would I do in that situation? Yeah. Like if I was Steve Trevor, just like I want to be respectful. Yeah. But then looking back, like
she wants it.
You know, like do I go for it? Like, am I gonna read this? Like my mind goes crazy. It's like, am I reading too much into this? Like, does she want it? Does she dig me?
Yeah. You don't know if you're him, you know?
No. But of course, like, you have to take the chance.
Yeah.
Like, oh, worst thing she could be like, no, just leave.
Yeah,
that's, like, that's the worst thing that could happen, but good for him.
Yeah, good for Steve Trevor.
They had their night.
He's, even though she's more powerful than him, he was like, damn, I can't let this gem go away.
I was seriously waiting the next morning for him to be like, ooh. Yo, I was waiting for that. And it didn't happen. Good on them for not going the easy route.
That would have happened in, like, any other movie.
So they played it straight.
Thank you, Patty Jenkins.
Yeah, I was seriously expecting that, though. Just him to be like, oh, you look like you had a rough night.
I was so happy they just never addressed it again.
Oh, yeah, they never mentioned it at all. Like, not even anyone mentioned, not even the guys, to be like, oh, I saw you in her room the last night. They don't even mention it at all.
I appreciate that. Because you know what? Men need to keep their mouths shut. And they don't be kissing and telling their boys.
The 20s, they don't do that.
They probably did. Like, they probably really did. All those guys in the London, what do they call them? Not bars in London. What are they? Pubs. The pubs. God, I don't think I want to be in a pub in London in 1920. I think there'd be a lot of discussions happening.
There'd be a lot of drunken fighting and vomiting and.
Yeah, but anyways, they're in that town. They're all happy.
That's the end of that. What happens?
They keep going on their journey to find the big guy.
They find out that they're having. Oh, we have this. They segue to the general and the Dr. Poison.
Yeah.
And they're talking to the higher ups in the German army.
Right.
And they're like, and he's trying to convince them not to sign the armistice and don't surrender. We have this mustard gas, blah blah blah, and they tell him he's crazy. They're gonna just do it.
So he kills them.
So he kills them pretty much, just kind of like a test run on the mustard gas, and it looks like it's
deadly as fuck.
It's good.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
It's good, real good.
Yeah.
So we get that. So the threat is really real, and then we find out that he is throwing a party.
Yep.
So they go to the party. They're like, we need to go to the party and go from there. Steve Trevor goes in.
He doesn't want Wonder Woman to come.
No, because she like kind of stands out, sort of thing.
She's too beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what they all. That was what was implied.
Well, she stands out, and she did when she finally just showed up.
Yeah, she sure did.
So Steve Trevor goes into the spy. He talks to Dr. Poison, and was like getting to her, like kind of like, schmoozing with her, I guess, like almost like seducing her.
He was trying to,
like really like trying to get her on the side, like yo, like show me your stuff. Like, show me your lab. I follow your work, and she's really into him. And then she shows up, and he
can't stop looking at her.
I think it was like a combination of that. Like, she's gorgeous, one, and number two, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah, you're ruining my fucking shit.
Yeah, like, and because he tries to like, so what was I saying? And then Dr. Poison is like, looks like someone else had your attention.
Yeah. Bye. I mean, that was a low key like. That had some underlying themes in it too, you know.
Like what?
Like,
sorry to put you on the spot. Like, what do you mean?
Like gorgeous. I mean, okay. So one critique about Wonder Woman is, and I know it would have been too much, but one thing they didn't explore, it's like, sure, there's a difference between being like a beautiful woman and the struggles you'll face as being a woman than being someone who's perceived as not as beautiful, you know? And they didn't really explore the latter. Like, they always were like, oh, she's so beautiful, she stands out, you know what I mean? Which is like a true issue for beautiful women, but in the flip side, it's like, if you're not
an ordinary woman.
Right, she's not an ordinary woman. And I think that thing with Dr. Poison, it was like, okay, well, Steve Trevor's trying to, like, fake schmooze this woman who clearly, like, doesn't get male attention or attention from anybody because of her facial, you know, I don't know why she has that.
Probably her experiments.
Yeah. And then when this beautiful woman walks in, like, Steve Trevor can't even keep his eyes off her. You know what I mean? So to me, that was like a play. It was, of course, it was for the plot, you know. But to me, that was like one of their only opportunities necessary to like show that, you know. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't what they were going for, but because that's one thing I noticed in the movie, and I was like, is Wonder Woman too pretty? Like, I can't, you know, is she too pretty?
It was interesting because I've seen comments where, like, they praised the movie for making it feel like she was on the average, like, she was, like, the everyday woman.
Yeah.
And, like, at the same time, it's like, that's not the everyday
That's
woman.
not the impression.
And not to say women aren't beautiful or anything like that, but, like, Gal Gadot is, like, and, like, I don't even look at her that way until this movie.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really, like like when I think of beautiful women.
Yeah.
Like I don't think Gal Gadot was up there until like this movie.
Yeah.
And so you see her like, oh man, she's gorgeous, but she's not supposed to be any other woman.
Right.
So I don't know why people would say that. Like I guess I get it.
I mean, you can't do everything. You know, the movie already had so many stakes. It already, and people are saying, oh, it didn't take risks. Well, I'm like, what risks? What plot risks could you have taken? Like, you know, like this is like the first.
I thought they were fine, like especially at the end.
Well, I mean,
where they could have easily made it very cookie cutter and how it ended.
Yeah, they could.
But they made it way more complicated. You know what I'm saying, with the plot where like things were happening, which we'll get to soon. But so I don't know.
But anyhow, that was just something I thought about in that moment, and I was like, you know, that's interesting because that's kind of what happens. It's like if a guy just wants to schmooze up a woman for no reason that he's not interested in, and then somebody else comes in who's like more attractive in their eyes, it's like that's exactly what happens, and like it makes some girls feel like shit, like it did Dr. Poison. You know, so I don't know if that was the intention of that moment or whatever, but it was just something that popped into my mind at the moment.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It could have been something very subtle like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyhow. Yeah, but I really enjoyed that scene. It was like
interesting. Yeah,
you could see the pain in her eyes, and it was like more than her being Dr. Poison because she doesn't really have that many lines.
No, but we get it. I think the shining moment in her was at the end.
Yeah,
the ending is like
insane,
crazy.
Yeah.
Like there's so much going on. But also in that scene, that's when Gal Gadot's just like the general. Which I don't know his name in the movie, but the guy who played Stryker in the Wolverine Origins movie.
We know other movies that these people were in, but Stryker,
Stryker from the Wolverine Origins movie.
Yeah.
She believes that's Ares.
Right.
That was like a constant thing, like he must be Ares. Oh, that's Ares, sort of thing. And it's interesting because I figured it wasn't him.
Well, you read.
And no, I didn't read spoilers or anything.
Oh, okay.
Like going into the movie, I kind of felt I already knew the ending. Mm-hmm. Like he wasn't Ares,
but you didn't know who was Ares.
No, I didn't know for certain, but I really had a strong feeling the British guy who gave him the money to go out there was, because he was way too involved.
Yeah, he was pretty involved.
He was way too involved because they kept going back because the secretary, Chris Pine's secretary, was like the one being the middleman for them, so no one knows what's going on, but he was always around.
Right.
So, and it was funny because then you saw like I said, like the whisper to Dr. Poison. Yeah. While the general was in the same room. Mm-hmm. And he needs to take these drugs to make him strong and stuff like that. Like, if he was Ares, he wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah. I was confused about what he was taking.
I don't know. They just said, like, just to make it, like, kind of put him on Wonder Woman's par. You know what I'm saying? Up to her, because that would just be really lame.
Right. You know, I mean, the reason I did think he was Ares for a little bit was because like Ares got injured and maybe Dr. Poison was helping Ares like become strong enough to even like function. You know,
the only thing that could happen was like maybe Ares doesn't know he's Ares. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like they have like these storylines where it's like a god or something like loses their memory and they go on to life
after
but then,
some battle.
Yeah, so like Ares, they give the backstory where Ares, the son of Zeus, is jealous of man. Yeah. Zeus created man. And he became jealous of man. So he wanted to prove to Zeus that they were bad. So he caused a bunch of wars, and Zeus created the Amazons, and specifically to be women, to calm them down. Mm-hmm. It's just weird to say. To show them how they put it was to show them love and to calm them down. And so, it was Zeus and the gods and the Amazons versus Ares and whatever his people were. Ares kills, like, they pretty much said kills all the gods, it seems that way. And in the final battle with Zeus was very injured, but at his, like, threw a lightning bolt and really hurt Ares, and he had to run away. Right. And with his dying breath, Zeus's dying breath, he creates the God Killer sword.
Yeah. Well, so it's told. Yeah.
So that's what the story's told.
Right. That's what Diana's mother told her.
Yeah, because she found out about the God Killer sword from somebody, probably her aunt. Right. And so she asked her mother, and the mother finally told her what it was about. So.
Well, that scene right when she's leaving, it's like, oh, you didn't want to tell her, and it's like, no, because Ares will find her faster or whatever. That was the first clue that we got.
And they didn't want her to leave Themyscira either, because if she became powerful, that she would become like a tracking beacon to Ares. You know what I'm saying? That Ares wants to kill her.
I don't understand why she can't ever go back. I didn't really get that. Like, cause she'll lead man to the island.
Maybe.
Like, I never really understood. Like, oh, why can't she come back?
Maybe.
Or is the island gone after Ares is defeated or something?
No, I don't think so. I always thought it was like somewhere you have to be invited in, sort of thing. But obviously, Steve Trevor was not invited in.
Yeah, obviously those Germans were not invited.
No, they were not invited in. So, I think it's more. Maybe they just knew. Where it's like, you're going to be more than this. I'm like, she can't come back because you're going to enjoy being out there.
She's going to have to. She's going to have to save the world. She's going to have to keep saving the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because we don't know, from the end of this movie to Dawn of Justice, we don't know what she's been up to.
Yeah.
It seemed like she wasn't doing anything.
It seemed like, yeah.
Like, as Wonder Woman, like, she kind of like, I'm done.
Right. As
being Wonder Woman and just did whatever. She became rich somehow.
Yeah.
I think she became like an arts dealer or like an artifact collector or something. I don't know what she was doing.
Something with history. And
I don't know. I guess I got to watch Batman vs Superman again.
Oh fuck.
Anyway, so
I do not want to watch that movie again.
I don't remember what her backstory was in that movie.
I fell asleep in that movie 5 times before I could finish it. But anyhow,
so she thinks the general is Ares.
They dance or whatever.
Yeah, they dance, and she's like, "Do I know you?" kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And they're really like hinting at, "Oh, maybe they know each other. This is Ares." Blah blah blah. She tries. She's about to like kill him. Like she's gonna take her sword that's like on her back.
She's got it like wrapped up in her dress.
Yeah, like you can see the hilts of the sword coming out of her dress. And she's about to like kill him, and Steve Trevor's like, and then Gal Gadot's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Get off of me! Get off of me! I'm gonna kill him right now." But that's when he tells Wonder Woman that, "Oh, you're gonna enjoy the fireworks." They send like the mustard gas bombs and destroy that whole town they were in, which sucked. Yeah. And then Gal Gadot tells her, "This is all your fault. If I just killed him, this would have been all over." Blah 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 blah. So that's the beginning of like the rift between the two of them. Mm-hmm. So she goes after him because now he leaves, and she goes after him. And they're all following behind. And they finally get to the compound where the mustard gas is being created.
Final act.
This is the final act. And they, Steve Trevor's trying to get to the bombs while Wonder Woman's trying to get to Ares, which she thinks is the general. They have like this standoff on like the tower, like this watchtower thing. And she's trying to tell him, "Oh, you don't know me, but I know who you are." And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Yeah. He sniffs that thing and they start fighting. It's weird, but whatever. It's plot convenience.
She kills the shit out of him.
Yeah, like even with that, she beats the shit out of him, and then eventually just stabs him
right through. You can see the sword through.
There was a scene. There was a scene because then he stabs him with the God's Killer sword, and just leaves it there. Yeah. And so she goes back down because Steve Trevor comes up, because she realizes, "Oh, I killed Ares. Everything should be fine." Nope, everything's still the same. Still the same, yeah. So Steve Trevor's like, "I killed Ares, baby," and then so Steve Trevor's like, "I'm telling you, Ares has nothing to do with this. Yeah. It's just man. Man is this way, this and that. It's not all good and evil. It's just everything's gray and people do things." It gives this whole philosophical reasoning and whatever, but she doesn't want to accept it. Yeah. And like, "Oh yeah, my mother said man doesn't deserve me," sort of thing, and she was right. And so, but Steve Trevor's like, you need to help me stop the plane from going with the mustard gas to kill everybody. But she's just like, "No, like you don't deserve it. Blah blah. This is all you're doing." So she's
taking it out on him.
Yeah. So he's just like, "All right, fine, I'm gonna do it because this is what I'm gonna do." So he goes and does his thing. He recruits his friends. They go try to get into the because he can fly. So he's like, "I'm gonna go in," and they find out that it's rigged. First of all, it's on a timer as one. Yeah. And yeah, it was like too much of it.
How'd you catch all these details? This happens so fast. In my mind, I'm just like, okay, I won't say it yet, but that she killed that. Just I don't
know. It's interesting things just come to me. I don't know. I just have an eye for that. But so it was on the timer because that was the whole plot. Like because he's like this whole goes to his sacrifice because. You couldn't disarm it, one.
You're like laying it out.
No, that's what I'm saying, because that's the whole point. Like, I've had to sacrifice myself because it couldn't just be disarmed. It was on a timer anyway. So if he just left the plane there, everyone in that place dies. Right. So he's like, and if he lets it go, they're going to blow everything up. So he has to go in there. He takes over the plane, so he's flying away. Wonder Woman. So while that's happening, Ares finally shows up.
She thinks she's seeing visions or something at first.
Well, she sees the British guy.
Yeah.
Who I thought it was.
Azkaban guy. Yeah.
Because she's like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
And she finally realizes that's Ares.
Yeah.
But this is the scene I was talking about. She left the sword in the guy, right?
Yeah.
So she doesn't have the sword. So there's this quick shot. I could be totally wrong, but like she kind of reaches for it. But obviously there's nothing there. It cuts to like Steve Trevor's doing. When it goes back there, she jumps down.
Yeah,
with the
she's
sword.
got it. Yeah.
I don't know why.
Why you're like
just
that? You think that's so funny?
The continuity of it, like they either I don't know if they realized it.
Yeah.
They fucked up or whatever. But that just cracks me up because I've taken like. I'm not saying I know everything about movies and stuff like that, but I've taken scenes where like continuity is important to every scene. Yeah. And I feel like that was like a overlook. Like they overlooked it.
It would have been.
And at the last minute, they had to be like, because literally you see her reaching for her sword and she has nothing.
Yeah.
Because the sword is still in the dude out on the roof. So they cut back and she's jumping down with the sword. Right. So at least they corrected that in a way, like, oh, I realized I didn't have a sword. Yeah. I would rather have them shown that my sword is not around. Right. And maybe have like a fight for the sword or something, like a quick, like race for the sword, and she grabs it first or something. Mm-hmm. But whatever. That's just.
It's so weird because the sword ends up being so unnecessary.
Yeah, that's the whole. But we don't know that either, which is interesting because. So then we get this whole thing where, when does she find out? Because she tries to kill him. Yeah. And he just like destroys the sword. Yeah. He just like destroys the sword. And she's like, what the hell's going on? And then we find out that, and then Ares, I think, tells her.
He starts talking. He starts going on a whole.
Because his plan is he wants to recruit her. Right. Like, oh, I'm your brother.
We can do everything together.
Because, oh, that's the God Killer, so you're the God Killer. Because, I don't know what your mother told you or whatever, but it's not the sword, it's you. You know, Zeus created you through your mother. Mm-hmm. So. She's the God Killer, so that makes them brother and sister.
What was her story like? What was her story about how she was conceived?
Oh, that which is from the comic books actually. That she created her from clay and asked Zeus to make her real, and Zeus made her real. Yeah. And that was her origin forever. Really? That was her origin from the beginning. Yeah. It's only kind of recent that she became Zeus's daughter.
I see. Yeah, so that was a funny part, but I was also like, they keep saying that there's got to be something more to it.
That was literally her thing. Yeah, that was definitely her origin in the comics. But man, but yeah, so they gave us both, I guess.
So after Ares gives her a little bit more information, cuts to Steve Trevor where he's doing what he's doing, and he finally realizes that I'm gonna have to.
Oh wait, he's not even on the plane yet. Yeah. So Steve Trevor's talking to his buddies like, what can they do? Yeah. Like things about to leave. They find out it's rigged and it's on a timer. Yeah. So he comes up like, I'm going to take it. Just cover me while I go get the plane. But she's having a fight. Yeah. Wonder Woman's having a fight with Ares. And she gets like kind of taken, like pushed back. And he runs up to her and but she has like ringing in her ears because it's like a big explosion. And that's when Steve Trevor has this thing where like we can't hear it because we're trying to be Wonder Woman. So we only can see what he's trying to say. And he's telling her all these things. You can hear like.
It's emotional.
Yeah, like he's like, you kind of knew what he was gonna say, and then he leaves and goes to the plane, and there's more fighting and this and that. He gets on the plane. He takes over the plane and he starts flying away. Right. So we get more fighting, more Ares like about man, and I didn't do anything. Like, and we talked about this. I spoke with this with my girlfriend. We're like, there's a lot of God devil. Yeah. And I guess that's in every pantheon of gods. There's a god and there's a devil. And it's just like, Zeus obviously is God and Ares is supposed to be the devil. Yeah. Where it's just like, I didn't make them do anything. Right. They have free will. I just kind of whispered to them and gave them the idea. It was on them to do what they wanted to do with it. Right. So, like, it's very interesting. I was like, oh, man. Like, so it made Wonder Woman kind of, like, conflicted and what should I do? Yeah. And then they're fighting and he has all these crazy powers and she has no answer for him. Like he's just doing everything and beating the shit out of her. And then he grabs Dr. Poison, right, and puts it in front of her. Mm-hmm. I'm like listening to you like a story time. I'm like, how did you catch all these details? I was so into the ending. I was just like, damn, this is dope. Yeah. I was so into it. And it was just like, puts her there on her knees, like, kill her. Yeah. Like, she's the reason. Because she finally, no, not yet. I don't think it exploded yet, the plane.
No.
Not yet, right?
No.
So he goes. Oh no, it did. Okay, I got confused.
Oh yeah, because she gets so sad, and that's how she uses that energy to.
No, because she. This is before Dr. Poison, right? So he takes the plane and she sees it explode. Like,
right.
She sees it explode. She goes fucking Super Saiyan.
That's exactly.
She goes Super Saiyan and beats the shit out of all the Germans and kills them all. Just blah, 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 like, slice, with cook, crack necks, or whatever.
Wait, what did you say?
Cracking necks.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like, yeah.
And like she was beating the shit out of all of them, right? And then she's done with them. And she's like really pissed. And Harry's like, yes, you come to my side. And like, so it's like the final, like, yes, feed into your anger. And it's just like, she finally brings over Dr. Poison and puts it right there. Like, this is the final thing. Like, kill her.
Yeah.
She's the reason why this is all happening. She kills Steve Trevor. It was her chemicals, this and that. You see her face, like one of them was like looking down on her, and she kind of had like glossy eyes because she's like gonna die, and like her mask thing comes off, and you see like she's.
Oh yeah, now I'm remembering. Yeah.
Her thing comes off, and you see like her scarred face, and that's when she thinks about Steve Trevor and what he said. She finally remembers what he was saying.
And we hear it, right?
And we go with the same scene, but now we can finally hear what he said. And I don't remember everything he said, but it was pretty much just like, you know, I need to go, you know, I got to do what I got to do, you know, for humanity sort of thing. Like, I'm going to...
Steve.
And then finally, it finally says, I love you, and he leaves. And she kind of comes out of her thing and lets her live. And I found it very interesting. I had a discussion with my girlfriend afterwards where it's like, even when her mask came off and you saw how really ugly she was, Dr. Poison, it was like, even the ugliest person, even inside and out, it doesn't matter. Like, she was an evil person. Like, even the ugliest person she could forgive.
Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, you know, they do deserve me, and I kind of deserve them, and, you know, I'm here for them. Right. You know, this is why I was created. You know?
Which she finally knows now. She was created to, like, basically save humanity.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. So it was like a culmination of everything, and I loved how they used her, because it was like, this is the ugliest person, like, even though, like, inside and out, and they just wanted to bang that home, where it's like, this is a very ugly person, and the ugliest person on Earth, and she couldn't forgive her. Right. You know, and, you know, Jesus allegory.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. That's a good...
That's how I took it. I was like, damn, like, even the ugliest person she could forgive, and let her live, and, like, you know, I'll do everything for the world, sort of thing. So that's when she was like... She realizes Steve Trevor's love and everything, and was like, no, I'm going to go get you, Ares. And they have this big brawl.
How'd you feel about him building his suit? Like, it all just... With it. You're fine with it?
Because that's supposed to be his armor from back in the day.
Yeah, I know, but to me, that moment, I was like...
It's supposed to be like how he looked back in the old day. Yeah. Like that armor. You see in like a lot of media in the comic books, like the first Injustice game, he was in it. Yeah. That's exactly how he looked.
That's true.
So they just try to like show it. It would have been weird just to have the British guy just fighting him.
Well, for sure, but it was more of like the shot of him in the fire, like the metal just...
I liked it. I thought it was cool.
I mean, it was. It was a comic booky moment, but I was a little like, you know, I was like, it was a little surprising, I guess. And maybe it was because he was so intimidating looking, like, with his eyes, like, you know, like, I was like...
Well, the helmet was cool. It was like, like here, and you're like, you know.
I was, like, scared of him. I was like, that's a scary costume.
I thought it was crazy because, you know, he has, like, all these powers. He had the lightning powers. He was moving earth. You know, he was moving metal. Yeah. Like, it was like, oh, yeah, he's a god. Like... It's crazy because you think, like, oh, every god has, like, their own little power. Like, Zeus is, you know,
their own little power.
You know what I mean? Like Zeus is associated with lightning and stuff like that. And I'm sure he has a lot more power than that. Yeah. So you wouldn't, why wouldn't Zeus's son have those kind of powers, too? So it was, like, made him really formidable, and she beats him.
Well, she doesn't form her own lightning, or she uses his. She basically uses his powers against him.
And she uses the, like, just going back full circle to the beginning where she uses her gauntlets and just, like, boom.
The scene, I love the shot of her where she's actually, like, holding all his lightning. You know what I mean? And it's, like, blue all around her.
You watched the Last Airbender, right?
The what? Yeah.
Right. So you know
yes.
how you redirect the lightning.
Yes.
That's like pretty much.
It was exactly that, but maybe that's why I liked it so much. I was like, she's in the air, flying with like I was like, oh my god.
She's like Zuko, like just redirecting lightning.
Oh
I was like,
god.
oh shit.
Yeah, she was doing it. She was doing it. Yeah.
So and she beats him. She kills him, I guess.
I guess she does.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's always ambiguous.
That's how it ends, right? It's done, right?
Well, I mean, we get. There's an echo apparently. Keep talking. I don't know. I think that was the end though.
And then, how does it transfer back to like Batman's picture? Like, 'cause that's how it ends.
We get. She beats him. Oh man, I don't remember.
Yeah.
That's the one detail I forgot. Wait, I don't remember how it transitioned from that
from him dying
back to the present.
Does she say?
I guess you just get like a narration. I guess.
Oh, the other guys, the band of guys. Should we like pause?
No. We're gonna keep going.
The band of guys. She's like they honor Steve Trevor or something. They all get together and then.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah.
And then I guess the world is okay again. At the end of World War
I.
Oh
yeah, everything gets sunny. Yeah.
You know, Jesus allegory. She comes down like this. In every DC movie, everyone has to be Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm just like, why? Don't get it.
And then she types out something to Batman. She's like, "Thank you."
Oh, she tries to email.
Yeah.
Because it's really. Me and my girlfriend both said it. We were like, I could barely read what it said.
Yeah.
It was so small. The email. It was just like. It was to Bruce. Or you could definitely see Bruce. And the subject line had me laugh because I think it was like photo or something. The subject line, just like so basic. Instead of just being like no subject, like a normal person would be, like a normal conversation. And it was cute because it goes, "Thank you for bringing him back to me." Right. So that was cute.
Yeah.
But that was like, and you know, we talked about it earlier. Was just like the relationship between Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman, I thought was really done
beautifully. Well. Yo, I just gotta say, shout out to Boss Logic, yo, cause he did like a graphic of like that final scene of like Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman. Oh my god, it was so. I almost like cried again.
You almost cried again.
It was he did of course his play on it, and like there was music playing that I cried. Like Boss Logic's work makes me cry. The scene where he does like Irish and Barry and like the Flash. I'm just like you recreate these like insanely emotional moments. But
no, I like Boss Logic stuff, but I definitely I love how I just like the they just fixed it, like not fix it. Yeah, people are saying as echoes, we'll fix it in post. Sorry guys, can't figure it out right now, but we'll get that fixed out for the next episode. But definitely the relationship, the built up in the relationship was just like something I don't think I've ever seen in a movie. Yeah, it's like it was like refreshing where the main focus was obviously the woman, and it was like, I don't know, it just seemed natural. Yeah, and I've said that before. Like the chemistry between the two actors was great. It just seemed natural. Like they met. There wasn't like an immediate like love at first sight thing. It was just like, oh, you're a beautiful woman, and that's as far as that went. Yeah. And I'm trying to be respectful on the boat, and even the boat stuff. Like I was cute. I was cool. Yeah. They were just like he was just trying to be protective. Like it was just like that old mentality, chivalrous, like he put it. It was just like, I'm a good man, and I'm trying to be a good man to this woman. Yeah,
and it was like boundaries. They had like boundaries, you know. And I feel like that's like a word a lot of people don't talk about, but it was like, yeah. I mean, you already said it. Yeah, like
no, but I don't know. It was just something about it, like thinking about it now. Like I thought about it a little bit after I saw it, but just talking about it makes me like, I was like getting welled up, like, oh damn, that was really well done. Yeah, and it was just like.
I mean, I think
see them together,
the
like
bottom
they're fighting together. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you gotta go for it. Finish your thought.
Like them fighting together. Yeah. Like him like showing her like, oh, I got your back. I'm always by your side, sort of thing. And even when they were arguing at the end, it was like, you know, yeah, we're all suck. People suck. You know what I'm saying? But you know, we're fighting for stuff, and I'm gonna fight for these people. Yeah. So he went and did this whole thing, and he kind of brought her out of it. Yeah. And kind of taught her, like, yeah, the world is not as easy as it seems.
Right.
So, and then like, yeah, I love you, and like even like the dancing and them kissing and them presumably having sex and stuff like that. It's like little by little you see it.
Yeah, and adding on to that, because I think you're saying it without saying it too. It's like, because Wonder Woman was such a beautiful woman. Like, I liked how they didn't like sexualize her even more than what she is, how beautiful she was naturally.
Yeah.
And by not showing the sex scenes, by not really having them kiss, by them having boundaries, and him being respectful and stuff, like, they really didn't over sexualize the character. So I really appreciated that.
Oh, definitely. I'm just yeah, I mean, we've been praising this movie.
Yeah.
My favorite part was the No Man's Land there scene. I guess that was yours too. I
liked it all.
I love the ending.
I love the ending. Yeah.
As you can tell with my scene by scene breakdown.
What do you think about people comparing it to Captain America? Like,
that's fair. I like this better than that.
I like this one way better. Yeah.
Like, the first Captain America was fine. The only thing that's similar is just like the time period, like the period piece of it, the fish out of water aspects, the kind of Band of Brothers sort of feel.
I think I hope that. I know they had to do the German thing as enemies or whatever, but I'm getting so tired of like war villains. Well,
tell the Germans to stop causing wars.
I mean, facts. Like, facts,
Stop causing the first 2 world wars.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really get around that.
No, you have to be historically accurate.
Yeah, but,
somewhat.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see if there is a second one. There probably will be. Where they go from here. I would love to explore more of the Greek pantheon. She has a lot of villains in the Greek pantheon, so Cheetah obviously is another villain.
There's going to be more flashbacks in Justice League, I was reading. Like,
about her?
Queen, her mother, and her aunt, like, they're going to be, presumably flashbacks, so, in Justice League.
What I love about the DC universe, just a little aside, is, like, how all the gods exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every single god exists in that world. So, it's weird, because it's like, I don't know, just like, there's, I don't know, Greek gods and...
Do you like DC more than Marvel?
I don't know if I would say that.
Yeah.
I like them both for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fantastical way that DC is. Like, it's not real.
Right.
Like, Marvel's trying to be more grounded, but DC is just like, their characters are like so, when done right, are so good.
If I name my favorite characters, they're all DC.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to for me. When people ask me that, I'm like, well, I like Marvel and I enjoy their stuff, but you ask me who my top 5 favorite characters are, they're DC.
Well, yeah. Well, not all of them would be DC for me.
Yeah.
Well, real quick, who's your top 5?
I mean, that's really hard to narrow it down. I'm just saying, like, when I first, I mean, I love the Flash. Like, that's like my number 1 character.
Okay, just name 5 that you love. You don't need them 1 through 5. Just say 5.
I would think about it more, but on first instant, I love Static. Like, that WB series is one of my favorite. Like, Young Justice is like one of my favorite things ever. So like, there's a bunch of characters in there I love. Of course, the Flash. I love Green Arrow. And not because of the show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But, like,
I mean, that plays a big part.
It does play a big part, but I liked Green Arrow before. And it's, like, cliche, but I love Batman, too. Like, it's all of those stupid cliche characters, but, like, they're better than the top Marvel characters for me, like Iron Man. The
one Marvel character I love is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I like a lot of them, too, but, like, the X-Men I love.
Yeah, exactly.
But, like, not a specific X-Men, just X-Men.
Right.
I love.
Like Catwoman.
So that's hard.
Yeah.
Catwoman? You said you like Catwoman?
Yeah.
I like Black Canary, Green Arrow, Green Lantern. Yeah. That's probably, that's 4 easily. Spider-Man, Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Black Canary, Spider-Man, and... just the X-Men. Every single one of them.
We're so basic.
Every single one of the X-Men, because they're so good.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so what? Give us one thing you didn't like about Wonder Woman. Like, I mean, not necessarily.
I know it. I like the villain twist, but to me, the one part in the movie drag was the maybe 15-20 minutes before the final act. Before they get to that final base. I thought that was like
the dinner party for the most part. Right?
Well, in between the dinner party and the time that the final battle actually takes place, like they kill the first guy who she thinks is Ares. I thought that could have been maybe more like tighter.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because
for the second she stabs the dude,
right,
to Ares showing up,
I thought that was a little bit, and I was thinking in my mind, like, I was like, wait, how is this movie gonna end, you know? Because, like, the momentum was kind of
halted, yeah.
Right. So that's the one thing that stuck out in my mind. But, you know, this is a pretty relatively small thing.
No, definitely. Yeah. Like, mine was, like I said before, like the beginning. Like, I thought it was a little too slow.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't get into it until they left.
Well, they rushed each phase of her life. It wasn't like you really got to learn anything about her. You just got to see her training. So it's like it was a little rushed and it seemed a little bit pointless when looking back because you didn't really learn anything about the character besides her training regimen and the fact that her mom didn't want her to be there or whatever. And looking at the trailers when they showed those scenes, like if you watched a 2-minute trailer, you know, you probably don't. We didn't really learn anything more from those first scenes on the island than we already knew. You know, we already knew she was training. We already knew her mom didn't want her to do it. We already knew her aunt trained her. Mm-hmm. You know, we didn't learn anything new. So that could be said about the...
Well, I mean, the only thing really we got from those is her kind of origin.
And the god origin.
The god origin.
Which wasn't even shown on the island. It was its own separate little...
It was like it's when she was telling the story.
They reenacted it like, visually in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like... it was a necessary thing.
Yeah.
To just get her origin there and to show people.
And I mean that landscape was so.
Yeah, I like the action scene and the beach scene was cool too. But yeah, I thought there was gonna be more time there, and it might have made it more worth it. But I'm kind of glad it didn't.
Yeah.
Because I just thought those were just nitpicking people. I know people love those parts, but it was just like kind of dragged.
I mean, whether it was good storyline or not, shit. Looking at that scenery and that.
Yeah.
You know, it was mind-blowing. Like, people like Game of Thrones because of that. Well, Wonder Woman outdid
the
that
sets
shit.
Sets were done really
well.
Like, even, like, in the war places, it was like, yeah, that's war.
And I can't imagine it was easy filming on those, on the sand with all the horses and those scenes.
That's hard, yeah.
How do you think about the slow motion in the action scenes?
They were fine.
I think they did it better than other movies.
I mean... It was fine. It could have been better. Like, it looked cooler in trailer, but when it actually played out, it kind of was, like, not as seamless.
Would you have liked no slow motion at all?
No, it would have been fine. I don't know. I think...
Because I thought it was another critique. But some people were either loved it or hated it. They said it did it better than a lot of other slow motion movies that do that. And then they should have said, oh well, there's something to be said about a quick action scene. It's like you miss it or you catch it or you miss it, and that's kind of like the kind of what makes going to a theater and seeing a movie so powerful is because it's like you have to pay attention all the time to get those quick action scenes, whereas as opposed to now it's like in your face.
I feel like that slow motion stuff is just a product of like that universe that Snyder created.
Exactly, Snyder.
Not gonna say it's like a bad thing necessarily, but it was just like that's just something that you're gonna have to expect in those sort of movies now. I like quick cuts kind of thing if it's done well. There's things that are done really well where it's just the quick cuts are almost seamless and it's like it's okay, like it looks Daredevil natural kind of. Yeah, like it looks cool, like fast, like I want to see fast martial art kind of thing. But you know, her fighting style is very brawler, you know, like I mean, like, you know, she's a warrior, like I'm just gonna bang you around like and slice you up, and like they're like, and those army people are just like, they're not martial artists, they're just regular people. So you know, she's just going through them. It looks cooler when you're like sliding down and
or flipping in the air,
or like breaking stuff, and you see shrapnel everywhere, and like going through buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no big problem. No.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, good job, everyone, because that movie was really great. I'm looking forward to everything else now.
I know. Justice League. When's it? November?
Yeah.
It's this November, right? That's like really soon.
Very.
What do you think? We're gonna hear some stuff at San Diego?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We're gonna get a.
We're gonna have to like do like rock paper scissors for like who's going to what. Like.
When the schedule comes out, we'll figure that out.
2 weeks before. God, I wish they did it sooner.
We're never gonna be able to get in there. You're gonna have to like camp out.
Yeah.
Which I'm not about.
I'm not doing it.
Unless we can find someone to sneak.
Zulai is used to waiting for Walking Dead, so maybe she'll.
But that was in New York Comic Con.
Yeah, she waited a long time.
But this is like
sleeping
3. Outside.
Yeah.
This is like you're in a tent outside sleeping.
Since my first year, I was like reading like tips and stuff online. I'm like, I
only did it once, and I was for the CW stuff, and I was waiting online for like an hour and a half. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Like, and then once you're in, you're in.
Right.
But you could be there all damn day.
Do you think they're gonna change the rule? I've heard people speculating that like they might change rules for big panels, like they might clear the rooms or have a wrap.
They normally tell you ahead of time.
Yeah.
That you will not be able to stay.
Yeah.
Because people are like, it's smart to be like, I'm gonna sit in Hall H all day and sit through all the panels I don't care about.
Yeah.
So I could be there for the one I do care about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But some of them, they'll tell you ahead of time.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna clear out, so don't even waste your time.
Yeah, I'm excited to see more of Wonder Woman's origins in Justice League. I wonder how they're gonna weave that in. You know.
Probably to deal with Darkseid and gods.
Right. She does have that connection.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's any connection with the Greek gods, but.
I'm wondering. It'll be nice to see her with Batman and see how that.
Yeah, because it seemed like they're having a cool relationship now. They're like, oh yeah, we're cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering how they'll bounce off each other and what those interactions will be like. You know.
Well, her and Aquaman should be interesting.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, Neptune and Greek.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
They have some similarities.
Yeah. So they have like that very old, ancient time feel. Yeah. So that'd be cool.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
No. Great movie. Like thinking about talking about it now, I was like, I want to watch it again.
I really want to watch it again. People are trying to compare it to Logan, and I'm like, you can't fucking do that. I was like, Logan took so many risks, and it was so unique, and I think that's what people, because it was fresh in their mind, they're like, oh, well, Wonder Woman wasn't that creative, and it didn't take that many risks. I'm like, well, Wolverine, you don't have a character like freaking Hugh Jackman who's been doing this for like 10 times.
That's the thing. It's like, it's an established property.
Right.
Even if it's not X-Men, it's a Wolverine movie.
Yeah.
And everyone knows Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, so they can take a lot more chances.
I was like, they follow the regular superhero formula, and I'm like...
It's an origin movie. Jesus, people. Come on.
Yeah.
I don't know. 2 different movies.
Yeah.
Both great, though.
Yeah. God, Logan was so good. I want to watch those movies.
I need to buy that.
I need to buy it, yeah.
I'll buy it when I come back from E3.
Would you watch it in black and white?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Might give it more...
Yeah, character.
Maybe, yeah. More Western-y feel.
Yeah.
All right. I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, for episode 4 of Cape Talk, I'm Phil Martinez.
And I'm Autumn Kelly.
We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Later.